Hi, welcome to the new episode of Sportsy. Let's aim sports. Firstly, wish you all a very happy National Sports Day. Let's make India a sporting nation. We celebrate the National Sports Day in India on 29th August on the birth anniversary of hockey legend Major Dhyan Chand. Today, on the occasion of National Sports Day, we have with us Shiva Keshavan, a six-time Olympian. Yes, a six-time Olympian, the first Indian representative to compete at luge at the Winter Olympics Games. He set a new Asian speed record of 133.3 km per hour after beating the previous record of 131.9 kilometers per hour and won a gold medal in 2011 Asian Luge Cup in Japan. In 2012, he set up a new Asian track record of 49.590 seconds. He is the reigning Asian champion. Shiva started his Winter Olympic participation in 1998 at the age of 16, and he ended it in 2018. In 2014, Shiva became the founder president of Olympians Association of India and is committed to support the Olympic movement in India. Shiva now aims to promote Winter Games in India and creating an ecosystem to produce more and more athletes competing at the highest level. Please welcome India's lone luge athlete, a six-time Olympian, an Asian champion, Arjuna Awardee, president of Olympic Association of India, and a fastest Indian on ice, Shiva Keshavan. Hi Shiva, it's great to have you on Sportsy Let's Aim Sports. It's
I said it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
believe me, it is our honor. We don't get to host a six-time Olympian every day, and it is something that we always talk about Olympics and everything. But I think something beyond Olympics is about Olympism. It is about what the whole attitude is, or what that person is made up out of. And our channel is Let's Aim Sport, which is aspire, inspire, and motivate. I don't think anybody else can motivate people. If they can't get motivated by six-time Olympian, I don't think they can get ever motivated. So it's great to have you here. And for our viewers and listeners, yes, we'll get to understand Shiva's story. It's amazing sport that we'll get to know and what he has done. But please welcome India's lone luge athlete, a six-time Olympian, Asian champion, Arjuna Awardee, and a president of Olympic Association of India, and what we call him the fastest Indian on ice, Shiva Keshavan. So Shiva, I think you have heard multiple ways of people introducing you at different level. But if I want to ask you that, okay, who is Shiva and what made Shiva to his journey, what that could be?
Ah, well, it's a very philosophical question. I think there might be a lot to it, but the way I like to see it is that as an athlete who decided to follow my passion, even though it wasn't aligned with maybe the overwhelming majority of people because it wasn't known. But I found a passion and I decided to follow it. And I found a lot of success, both in terms of what other people think and in terms of my own fulfillment, to represent the country, to constantly improve myself as a person, as an athlete. And you spoke a little bit of Olympism, and I've been lucky to be associated with the Olympic movement for so long. And I'm glad that the conversation in our country is veering towards now, what is Olympism? What is sport giving us as a country, as a person? So it's fantastic to be part of this and to speak to you about that.
Excellent. And believe me, it is what we want to hear from you as well. It's not only about representing the country, it's not about the experience there, but it's about what makes an athlete to that level. But you started with something that, okay, you followed your passion for something which is not known, specifically in India. So what is luge and how did you actually got attracted to it? Because believe me, it's like I never heard of it till probably I started reading about you.
Yes.
So
Well, I mean, you're not alone because I didn't hear about or know about luge as a sport myself before I started. But as of course, I knew what sliding was. I knew
yeah,
what a sledge was, and which winter sport aspirant or which kid doesn't know what a sledge is, right? We all know Santa Claus, and we
yeah,
have that instant association. So it's that's an easy way to explain what I do. I do this. I do this sport, which is which many people know as sleigh riding. And I was when I started off initial years as an athlete, I wasn't focused on one sport. I played a whole range of sports. I played hockey, I played athletics, various disciplines, gymnastics, and I think they primed me for the moment in which I got exposed to luge as a sport, and I think I was ready to pick up. I won't say any sport because that might be presumptuous, but I could have been able to be successful in a large number of sports because I had a base, and of course winter sports was really in sync with who I am, because I was born in the Himalayas, and as apart from many other people who attended that first talent scout camp with me, I was the person who knew how to move on the snow, how to anticipate, and so obviously I had an advantage over there. And and of course, when I started, I never dreamt of being at the highest level, being at World Cups, being the Asian champion, or going to the Olympics, and so on. All that came later. So it was just an incredible journey that took me from a small town village in the mountains in India to travel the world, get an education, and basically shape my person. And this is the opportunity that sport offers to so many young men and women in our country, that we things we don't even imagine right now. The possibilities are right there behind the corner. So we should be ready to to grasp it when it comes.
Interesting. I think what you just said, right? Okay, it was probably easier or probably known to you because you were born in Himalayas and you are a Pahadi guy, and you knew few things about it. But still, the winter you participated first time in 1998, and obviously practiced few years before that. And Winter Olympics was never known to the masses. Like, unfortunately, we didn't even know much about the Paralympics in India. So it was all about Olympics, and then the Paralympics happened. Then some of the Winter Olympics things started happening. So
I would go a step further than what you're saying.
Okay.
And because in '98 when I started, forget Winter Olympics, there was no Summer Olympics either in India. There was no sport in India.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe cricket was well known because in '83 we already had the first World Cup win, and it was that was a time where the mass communication came in, TV, color TV. So it formed that was the kind of evolution of sport in India. Whereas Olympic sport, it has a much, let's say, more recent evolution. I would put 2008 maybe after Abhinav's gold that we started looking at Summer Olympic sports a little bit more with interest. Of course, Winter Olympics still has to catch up.
Got it. Before it was 96 Leander getting that bronze, right? It was
yes, absolutely.
So that was the only glory, and after the hockeys, that was the only thing that we had. So that's why I'm saying, okay, it had just started all those things. But okay, so coming to the point is about what has been your aspiration, inspiration, motivation to be ready for something which is not known, but that's your passion, and you end up bettering yourself every year after year, and till 2018 till you represent professionally for last Olympics. So what was these three words for you?
Well, I think first of all, I never started sport by to prove anything to anybody else, or to become famous or to make a career out of it. So none of these were in my vision and my target at all. It all came, let's say, as a consequence. I've been a competitive person, and I grew up in a place where we knew that it is one of the best mountain areas in the world, because all the visitors we came to the Himalayas used to tell us that, wow, there's no slopes like this in the world. There's nowhere you can find these snow conditions. There's this is the mecca for winter and adventure sports enthusiasts. And this was my background. And at the same time, we were thinking that, okay, we are supposedly the best in the world, the best suited in the world, but why isn't anything happening here? Why don't we have a slope? Why don't we have a competition? Why don't, there's so many things. And the community started to organize races on our own. As kids, we used to make our own equipment. We used to make our own skis. There were locally organized events that we took part in, and we used to watch the top athletes of the world on TV. We used to watch the Olympic Games, and then we used to idolize these kind of people, and then one day dream of, we used to try to copy them, what they're doing. Then one day when I got the opportunity to enter the same arena as some of these people that I would follow and idolize, I realized that they are also human beings, just like I am, and I've been looking at them and thinking that they're some kind of gods. Whereas now that I have the opportunity to match myself against them, okay, I can train, and I can reach that level. And then later, when my confidence grew, I started believing, look, I can even get better. And I think that is again one of the things that sport teaches you, is that self confidence. And that confidence is not an egoistic thing. The confidence comes from training. It comes from practice. And that's what gives you the confidence, saying that, look, I can do this because I know I've done it before. And whoever comes in front of me, I can replicate. So this was a big motivating factor to be able to match myself against the world's best. And to know that I have that capability within me, and we have that as a nation as well. So that was one, and secondly, also this will to carry my whole community with me, because what about the winter sports scene in India? Why are we behind? So I wanted to see the development in all of that, and so all these things together kind of made this mission that, all right, let's go for this, and let's take the Indian flag in places where it's not been before.
Wow, and I think that is so amazing, and that exactly aligns with what our channel is there for AIM, right? It's an aim with aspiration and inspiration and motivation. It's an aim that we work on. But again, I'm coming back to the same point, right? The winter sports in India was not known. You were the youngest. You were the youngest athlete as a luge Olympian in 1998 Winter Olympics, and before that, the sport was there, but it was a tough sport with all the protection, all the security, safety that you need, and some advanced countries with the focus on winter sport, they already had the proper arenas. So what made luge a tough sport, and how did you actually train in a safe and secure environment during your training days?
Well, I think the training environment I had to recreate on my own, because since we didn't have any of the facilities, it was just an adaptation of the facilities. In fact, in our case, the kind of sledging we've been used to as kids in India was more for fun. So basically more taking a sled, going on snow, having fun, having some races with your friends. But the artificial track luge, what I do is, as a sport, is high tech. The ice needs to be prepared like a mirror. In fact, it's a 1.5 kilometer long freezer. So they are artificially freezing the ice track so that the conditions can remain the same for the competition and for a large part of the year. And we had none of that in India. So I actually had to modify the sled and take off one of the main components of the blades and put wheels under it. So now you can use that sled on the road. And even though, of course, you need a good road without too many potholes and all, because it's very dangerous when you're going at that speed. But suddenly it becomes possible. Suddenly you can do a little bit more. So although a lot of my, let's say, professional part of my training was abroad, in the actual venues of the races and part of the international group, etc. Now with this modification, while I was in India, I can still compete. I can introduce others to the sport. I can popularize the sport. So I had to put up with a lot of these, let's say, innovations. In fact, many other countries they spend so many resources on equipment, and luge is a technology-heavy sport. So if you have the right sled, you can reach a certain speed. If you don't have the right sled, you will never be able to, no matter how good you are. And there are countries like the US that has NASA, Dow Chemical, companies like this supporting them. We have Mercedes, there's BMW. All these companies are in this space making sleds. And in India, there's me who learned how to work with fiberglass and polished steel, and started making the sleds myself in my garage. So this was the difference, let's say, in equipment. That there's a big gap that we are yet to cover, and I'm sure it's the same in many sports.
Yeah, you are literally a Wright's brother doing building a plane.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But when you represent India for the first time and wore the national jersey to do that, and it's like, and knowing that you are the lone warrior from 1.3 billion, or when you started probably you were 1.2, 1.15 billion population.
900 million. First Olympics.
Okay, first Olympics 900 million. Okay, so we were not in billion that time. So you can say the journey of 400 million that you have seen from there to now. Of Indian population, but how does it feel to be a lone warrior and a lone flag bearer in this for so many years?
Well, initially, when I was just starting off, I didn't realize that the journey that I'm undertaking is much bigger than myself. Once I started reaching international venues, I started seeing the Indian flag coming, and people, Indians who are living all over the world coming over to support. I started getting messages of support from people all over the country. The few, of course, who had heard about me, but it was a lot of people for me. And that's when I started realizing the magnitude of what I'm trying to do and trying to achieve. And it was a big push for me in terms of motivation, because when you're doing something for yourself and you're facing obstacles, you get affected in a certain way. But when you know that it's something bigger than yourself, then you're able to sacrifice that much more, because you know that there are other people counting on you. And just the way I am as a person, that gives me extra energy. Some people, they feel pressurized when you have an audience. Some people feel motivated. So everybody kind of reacts with it differently. But for me, it put a lot of weight on my shoulders that that made sure that I know the importance of what I'm doing, and that I have to take it that much more seriously.
Yeah. And over 20 years of professional racing, at competitive racing, what were the best moment that you had, or what were the most cherishable race? It could be a win or a loss, but what were those?
Well, I think wins and losses are always things that I try to overcome very quickly and move on. The things that really stayed with me is first of all the people you meet, so all the friends you make around the world, and then that is the togetherness you feel, that we're not so different, even though we are from different countries, we speak different languages, different beliefs, and everything. So that is the friends I made all over the world. That's one big thing. Secondly, the sense of belonging to the community of citizens of our country, Indians all over the world. Mm-hmm. The sense that you're doing something for a greater cause. That is a feeling that it defined a lot of my journey, and that is something that helped me go on. And that's one of my most cherished, I think, memories, having that honor to be able to represent so many people. And the third thing, of course, is the achievements. It's when you achieve something, the struggle that you've been through. After having achieved something, it's a massive sign of relief and release of all the adrenaline, of all the tension of such a long time that you're striving for that goal. So these are the things that I think, emotions that remain with you for a longer time.
Okay. So again, while we are in the emotion and the mental aspect of it, what were the feelings, or did it ever stuck to you that the flag at the Olympics is flying, Indian flag is flying only because of you and for you?
Yeah, I mean, the first time I went to the Olympic Games in '98, I was the only Indian representative at the Games. So 2 Olympics, I was the only Indian at the Games. And, I was 16-year-old to enter a stadium in which there are, almost 100,000 people. There are billions watching on TV from around the world. And up until that moment, I'm training in a very secluded place, all by myself on the mountainside. Nobody knows what's going on. And all of a sudden, you're catapulted to the center of the world. And this feeling is, something that it's indescribable, and much less for a 16-year-old who can't get to know what all is going on. But all I knew is that I have to be courageous, be brave, and just take that flag. And even though I wanted to cover my face or go hide somewhere, and then once I entered the stadium with the flag, I felt so empowered, because that flag represents so much, right?
Yes.
That from that moment onwards, there's no I wasn't shy anymore, right?
Mhm.
That from that moment, it got transferred into a feeling of pride that I'm carrying this on behalf of
Yes.
900 million at that point of time. So yeah, that was an incredible feeling. And we've in school we always say 1 in a million, and this is 900 million. So it baffles you, the scale of things.
Excellent. And that's why I didn't want to touch upon anything else but the emotion side of it, because the flag is flying for you and because of you. On the similar lines, you have won so many awards and so many championships throughout your career. You have this fastest Asian as a record, and you're the fastest Indian on the ice. But in the process, what were the biggest challenges that you actually came across? One, from probably infrastructure is the biggest one, but other than that, it could be financials, it could be the mental thing, it could be injuries, because you are scared of, there is speed, there is adventure. So what kind of challenges that you had in your life, and how did you overcome those?
Well, I think one of the challenges which I did not have any control over, and one of the things that probably affected a lot, is the administration of sport, because we didn't have a system in place that churns out athletes. So in my time, and I'm sure it's still the same for a lot of people, it's up to you to lay the path. There's no beaten path. There's no processes in place for you, and you have to make those. And that's extremely difficult when you are dealing with elite level of competition. Competing against athletes that have everything. At least from your perspective, they might still complain. They might still say that no, we have less this, less that.
Yeah.
But from where we are coming from, we see all the all the facilities that many of these people have, and it baffles us. So that was one one huge challenge. As far as myself personally, to overcome your own mental barriers, that was what my journey was all about. Because as you mentioned, luge is a high-speed sport. We cross 150 kilometers an hour. We don't have any kind of protective gear. We don't even have brakes. So the sport is about going all out.
Yeah.
And so you have to train yourself for your reaction, your body's reaction to become a second nature. So that when you are in a certain situation in a curve, how you have to react. And many of these things are counterintuitive, because luge is a sport in which we face a very high level of centrifugal force, also known as G force, which we know as 1G is basically the equivalent of your weight, which is the pull of the earth on us. And in luge, when in curves you can reach about 7 Gs. In certain situation you can reach 9 and 10 Gs if you're taking a curve wrong. That means your weight becomes 10 times what you are. And over that, we're not flat on the ground, because the entire track raises up. It's like a roller coaster ride. So you're pushed against the wall with this G force, this invisible force, and you are even more than 90 degrees. So you feel that you're supposed to be falling down because you are upside down, but no, you're being pushed upwards. So there's a lot of training to be done, and the base is to overcome your fear. Because if you're scared, your body doesn't perform. You have to flow, you have to be relaxed. And in fact, being relaxed is one of the keys to the sport, how to convert momentum to speed and how to turn the sled effectively, etc. So the fear is the biggest thing. And the only way really to get over fear is to face it and to overcome it, just head on. There's no, and so it's basically training. And that's again what gives you the confidence. So that was the biggest challenge personally.
So being cool on the ice is the challenge.
Yeah.
Interesting. How did you actually? While training, that there's just so much of stress going on the mental conditioning. We saw in the current Olympic also few cases about withdrawal and what happens. So while you were training for this, because you are only competing against yourself, it was always a speed that you had and a sport which was not known for most of the people. So what were the mental thing going, and how did you actually overcome the mental toughness, what we call a mental conditioning in the new world? How did you work on that?
Well, there's actually a lot to work on, and it's I don't think it's fair to expect any athlete representing a country to deal with so many things, which is why I think it's important for the system, the administration, to make the process as simple as possible and as straightforward as possible for the athletes. So the athletes really get to concentrate on what is their core competence, to get better, to fight their own internal struggles, not deal with other things. So, I mean, for me, my faith, I think, had played a big part. Okay, because I remember when I was a kid, I was not so confident in my abilities. I was scared to go down from the start. And I had a Guruji in India who gave me some vibhuti, and he said, you put this vibhuti on and it will protect you. And this made a huge difference for me because I felt that I have the blessings of somebody, and that I'll be protected during my run, and that helped me. And a fun story is that a lot of my competitors, athletes, they would wonder, what is this guy coming with this thing on his forehead, right? And then some athletes, they came and asked me, and I said, this is for protection during the run. And many people started coming to me regularly before the run saying that, I want some protection. Can you give me also some of the So that was one of the, let's say, one of the things that beliefs that I exported. And it was fun because we ultimately it created a bond between so many of us athletes that we were sharing this thing, and because sometimes you need something to rely on to give you that confidence to be able to take those risks and to make those improvements. And in a sport like ours, the risk is directly associated with physical harm. So which is why that whole mental aspect gets more important, because it's not just getting hurt emotionally, but you can even get hurt physically. So both.
Yeah, I think you get, you put it different. If I want to put it, you get hurt physically as well as emotionally, because I think the speed that you are in, it's very few things to control if something goes wrong. And it's great to know that yes, there must be incidences, but nothing gone wrong. And we get to have a chat with who has completed 6 Olympics.
And the beautiful thing that happens is that when you're going at such high speed, you don't have time really for stray thoughts, because the moment you have a stray thought, you lose a tenth of a second, a hundredth of a second. You've already crossed 15-20 meters. So you can't afford that, and you're going at that speed. So it really forces you to come in the present, and it increases the level of concentration. So it feels like you can do a lot more with the time you have. When you're watching the sport from outside, you just see a blur pass by, whereas from inside I can see the expression of the faces of people. Like I know exactly what I have to do on the next turn because I'm concentrated and I'm in the mode.
So you feel like Neo for Matrix, right? It's like everything
Absolutely.
is slow for you, but for everybody else you're too fast.
Yes, yes. Time slows down. Yeah, that's how it works.
Interesting. And after you actually just coming to the second part of the thing, it's after retirement, from after participating in the last Olympics,
Mhm.
you actually got appreciated and you got received the Arjuna Award in 2020. So, how do you feel that this kind of appreciation is required for particularly athletes who are choosing to do different sport? Yes, those awards are given to multiple athletes playing the common sports. But something like you, how do you think this kind of appreciation is required or rewards? What do these rewards mean to you?
It meant a lot to me. I think it would have meant probably even more if it would have come at the right time.
Yeah,
But nonetheless, it was finally a confirmation and appreciation of the effort that I had put in for so many years. So it felt good. Plus, the year I won the award, the cash component was increased significantly. So that was a huge support because athletes, especially non-funded athletes,
yeah,
always need financial support.
correct.
And also it helped to for so many people to get to know about the sport. And after I won the award, I was surprised at the amount of people who wrote to me saying that I want to take up the sport. Please help me. So it does help. It does help to increase sports culture of the country, to increase the aspiration towards a particular sport, because people are watching and people do get inspired by this. And sometimes we don't realize because we are going through it in first person. But sport is something that is there to inspire the whole country. So awards are extremely important. And I would also say that especially somebody who's doing something new, if as a country we want to promote this kind of leadership qualities in people, that go and experiment, make something new, then we should be awarding that even more. I think that gives an incentive to people to go outside the comfort level, and find something out, because this is ultimately all coming and helping our country, where we're basically giving our population more chances to succeed.
Yeah, and so rightly said that it means a lot, and obviously it would have been even better if you had come at a little earlier when you were actually in the upscale. But nevertheless, the validation is the country has given the validation, if not at the 900 million, at least at the 1.3 billion level.
Even better.
Yeah, even better. 400 million more people got to know what it was.
Yes.
So just one part on this thing. Uh, af- you actually founded the whole Olympians Association of India. So what is the charter for that, and where do you see it going and helping the Olympians or the athletes?
So one of the things that I had realized during my days as an athlete is that something that's very different with other countries is that we have very few sports persons who go on and become administrators.
Yes.
And I saw that as one of the reasons why our sports administrators don't understand the problems of sports persons, because they were never sports persons themselves. And this is something that I wanted to change. And we've always heard the argument that not all sports persons will be good administrators and so on. But amongst all the sports persons, I can guarantee you will be able to find enough people who are good enough at administrating sport and who have a in-depth understanding. And so
Mhm.
this was kind of my mission. And I started speaking to other athletes in other sports, including summer sports, because athletes have chances to meet each other at various intersports events, sports functions, awards, and so on. And we decided to make a group of people that would work towards making a cohesive community of athletes, and help each other out. Because at least as far as Olympians are concerned, there are few who maybe find success. They become influential people in life, and there are few who've done the same amount of struggle, but are not so lucky in life. We know that there are a lot of
Yeah.
people who are really struggling even to survive. So, to create a community that cares for its members, because we know what each of us has been through, we decided to form this organization, which is now the official Olympians body, and recognized by the IOC and World Olympians Association. And It's basically for these two things: one, to support the community, and two, to give the Olympians community a platform to give back to society. Because even after an Olympian stops competing, he or she still has that same passion, that same drive, and a lot of the values that are learned during the years as an athlete. And so we want to take this value system and spread it throughout society, even outside the field of sport. We're talking about excellence, fair play, determination, dedication. What are the qualities that people can learn from and use the real life example of these athletes as inspiration, and how we can improve ourselves? So, and this is where, this is what brings us to Olympism, and to understand what Olympism is about. It's not about winning medals, because if it is only about winning medals, then it's just three people you need for the race, right? The rest are insignificant. Olympism is basically a quality of it is a way of life which is based on the joy you find in effort. So basically, this translates to doing your best. When you try hard to do something and you do your best, that gives you self-satisfaction, and that is the way of life, right? And this is done with respect for the other. So we don't cheat. We respect the other person's effort as much as our own, and we want to create a world which is based on healthy competition, cooperation, and brotherhood. So this is our vision, to create a better and more equitable world, let's say. Because after all, sport, I think, is a universal language. Everyone can understand it even before you start talking. Kids understand it much better. People of all castes, faiths, religions, sexes, they can compete together and bring out the best of themselves. So this is the kind of world we want, and so I think it is a good theme for the Olympians Association of India to promote.
Interesting. I think this actually goes beyond the theme of Olympics, right? Like it's CITES, LTS, and 40s. I think this is now you're going beyond about Olympism and making it inclusive for people to spread the word, spread the characteristics of what make them an athlete. I think this is amazing, and I wouldn't have probably expected a better end to the chat the way we started on the Olympism, and actually we came to the same topic discussed at the end. It was wonderful to have one question that I wanted to ask after all serious talk is done. Now we know there's a movie coming up on you. So Kunal Kapoor is, I'm sure he's going to take a lot of effort to reproduce the whole journey and everything. So what is that you have about, what do you feel about the movie? Because that again, a different kind of appreciation or validation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a fantastic project, and I was lucky to meet Kunal. I met him during my days as an athlete, in which he runs this online crowdfunding program platform called Keto. And Keto helped me to fund my Olympic journey as well. So that's when we started talking, and now Kunal decided to launch his own production label, and he thought that my stories was one of the stories that represents some of the ideas that he wants to take forward. And I'm really honored by that, and I think he's a great person, and he'll make a good movie. We yet don't know who is actually going to play me, because we're right now doing the script. Yes. And there's going to be a lot of luge training involved. So whoever's playing will have to understand, the basics of the sport. So all that.
So it's not coming anytime till China winter, right? Winter Olympics.
No. The shooting will start next year. The writing is going to hopefully get over this year, and the shooting will start next year.
So 2026 winter is when we can expect the full-fledged big thing with whole training and everything.
Well, for sure, I hope so.
Yes. For sure, right? For sure. So amazing! Thank you, Shiva. Thank you for your time. Wonderful talking to you, and it's our honor, honestly speaking, to host a six-time Olympian. And not only about a six-time Olympian, it's about somebody who is living by the example of Olympism. What should be the characteristic, what life is. So it's wonderful to talk to you, and thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thanks so much, Sid. All the best, and look forward to be back and listen to a lot more of people talking on your show.
Yes. Thank you, and I wish you all the best and stay safe.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe to our channel Sportsy Says and help us spread the word about Sportsy. We go with the same handle Sportsy Says across all the social media platforms and podcasts.